Okay, and welcome into Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI and ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. We appreciate our sponsors, all of them, and we'll get to some of the other things that we always do here on the show. Obviously, today is a day where we'll have two great guests. We're going to get the basketball taste out of your mouths, okay? We're going to bring on, hopefully we're going to get Don Gaffney in just a little bit, and then a little bit later in the show, Danny Wuerffel. We were supposed to get him on last week. He was ill, unfortunately, couldn't do it. He's going to be on today at 2:30. So we got a lot of things to talk to him about. Certainly, last night was disappointing. It's to lose a game when you're up like that. I've seen it happen before. I saw it happen with Billy Donovan 2 years in a row, where he had a double-digit 11-point lead with 10 minutes to go in the game and lost two games twice in a row in the Elite Eight. It happens, and it's okay to be angry today. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to fire off the fire bite white things. It's not going to help you in any way. He's not going to get fired. But if it makes you feel better, it's fine. It's up to you. It's your call. And I understand that. The funny thing is, I understand it a little bit better now than I used to, because back when I used to be a sports columnist just a few months ago, people would say, I don't know how you could write about these games. I don't know how you can handle, you were born in Gainesville, you went to school in Florida, you've been here for half your life in this job. How can you do that? And then I would say, I have a switch I'm able to turn off. Well, now that I'm not a sports writer, I'm not able to turn off this switch. It's a lot harder for me, and usually I'm at the arena, so you're right away going into work mode. I'm care when the game's going on and everything, but then all of a sudden you're home. Your daughter leaves and slams the door. She's so upset. Your wife's mad. You can't do anything right. The dog's mad. Everybody's mad. And I get it. I mean, so I kind of get your feelings. But, certainly what happened last night was there were a lot of mistakes made, but mostly the 20 turnovers. It's about turnovers. It's been the problem all year. It's a problem that never went away. Florida needs to go in the transfer portal and get a point guard, to be honest with you. I just don't think there's anybody on the roster that can handle the ball, and we've seen that as the year goes by. Think about how much this team missed Andrew Nembhard. Which I don't think there was that many times this year where you said that, but you said it after that game. You needed somebody to slow down and direct everything, and you certainly didn't need to turn it over 20 times. It's not just the guards, it's the big men too. Castleton had 5 turnovers in the game, and kind of has been up and down this last part of the year. But I mean, that team was what it was, and it never really changed. And one guy got infinitely better in Trey Mann. Unbelievable how well he played. And that when you say that they don't develop people, look at Trey Mann. Look what he did. He didn't do that all by himself. But it's okay. I understand where people get mad and they get upset. I'm there with you. It's hard for me to watch basketball games tonight. I couldn't watch the last few games last night after that. So we will talk about that some more a little bit later. We got a lot of things to get to. The Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks, Adams Rim Company Gators of the weekend. We'll talk a little bit about 3 things. We got 3 things coming up and I'm going to give you my worst 5 Florida basketball losses. This one didn't register for me. But right now, we're not quite ready to get Don on. We got to take a break. We got to take a break and fix something, so we'll do that. Well, quickly, I'll give you my 5 worst losses. I'll wait till later on the show. We take a break and figure out what the issues are here. We'll do that, and we'll be right back with another Dooley Noted podcast. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
This is Pat Dooley, and I want to tell you about my friends at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. I'm a member, and you should be too. It's the oldest Gator booster club in the world and a great place to meet new friends, network with prominent business people, and hear a great collection of speakers, including Dan Mullen, throughout the football season. Go ahead and give John Stevens a call at 352-222-8516 or sign up on the website, quarterbackclub.org. Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. This is Pat Dooley, and I want to tell you about my friends at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. I'm a member, and you should be too. It's the oldest Gator booster club in the world and a great place to meet new friends, network with prominent business people, and hear a great collection of speakers, including Dan Mullen, throughout the football season. Go ahead and give John Stevens a call at 352-222-8516 or sign up on the website, quarterbackclub.org. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. All right, we are back with another Dooley Noted podcast. We had some technical problems on this end. We had to get my headphones all straightened out. It's a great pleasure to be welcoming in a good friend of mine, Don Gaffney, who was, of course, the first African-American quarterback at the University of Florida, one of the all-time great quarterbacks as well for Florida. But I remember his days as a Jacksonville Firebird.
That's right.
That was some team, wasn't it?
Oh man, that was quite a team. I'm telling you, Pat. You know what gets me? You know, we like to go around and boast about the fact that we were the prelude to the USFL.
Yeah, they really were.
Yeah, we were. The Bulls came behind us, right? You know, and you know, it was a great time. There were a lot of outstanding players in there, you know, and in that league, period. And we certainly were loaded with Firebirds. I mean, it's just something that happened in Florida. You have a lot of athletes, you know, and so you know there were guys who were ex-NFLers, a lot of guys that played collegiate football, many in the SEC. I happened to play on a team that was loaded with players, so they made me look good. You know that. You know that for a fact.
I also know you got locked out of your locker room. Your whole team did one time. I remember that.
A couple of times. You were there. Well, you know, yeah. When you have no control over whether or not other people get paid, you know, you might show up at work and they tell you, "Oh no, you can't work here today because your people didn't take care of business," you know. And oh my goodness, you know, we're worried about getting to practice on time and get there, we can't get in. So yeah, that happened a couple times.
It was a lot of fun for me, though. I loved covering them. Let's go back, though, to your when you came to Florida, obviously coming from Jacksonville. Had Willie Jackson and Leonard George paved the way for you? I mean, if they don't come here, do you end up coming here?
I don't know. I know for a fact their being there had a great deal to do with my being there. But I went to Florida State and a couple other places when I was being recruited, and I saw naturally black players that had been the first or second guys there at those institutions, particularly Florida State and Tennessee. And it was just early. I didn't realize just how early it was. It didn't matter to me. I came out of Reigns and certainly playing, as you very well know, in the Gateway Conference. We played, we were predominantly black schools there, and we played against schools that were mixed. But Willie and Leonard, I remember when the Gator signed them. I mean, I was a Gator fan, so I remember when they first signed, it was a big deal, particularly in the Gaffney house. So I said to my dad, the University of Florida has finally signed some black players. Because my father told me once before when I asked why there were no black players with the University of Florida, he said, well, sooner or later there will be, and who knows, you may be the first one. So I don't know, Pat. I'm glad I didn't have to be the first one. You know that. But Leonard and Willie being there made it so much easier for me. But I didn't realize the big deal about being a quarterback until I got there.
Yeah, that game obviously is a great game in Florida history. One of the best in my mind. That game that you started at Auburn, and I think it was Wayne Fields or it might have been Nat Moore told me the story about Doug coming over to you with the ball in the locker room and handing it to him, saying it's your game, and somebody said, I can't remember who said, it's about damn time.
Well, actually, it was Wayne, and what Wayne said to me, actually, you got the story right, Pat. Coach waited until 5 minutes before the game, before kickoff. I mean, that's the truth. We were on our way out, and after he gave his little speech and what have you, and he said to me, he said, Don, you got it. That was the last thing he said before, all right, let's go. And he gave me the ball. And Wayne said, it's about time. You know what I mean? And I didn't have time to think about it. And I realized that was a brilliant move on Coach's part, because if I had known the night before, I probably wouldn't have gotten any sleep. I probably would have been calling my dad every hour.
Yeah. That year was one of my favorite years because they had that November to remember when you guys won all those games in a row, and it was so much fun. I mean, think about that, a 5-1 year, and people act like it was great. Now, if you go 8-3, everybody wants the coach fired.
That's right. That's what happens when people get used to championships. At that point, we were just trying to get a win over Auburn, right?
Yeah.
And get a back-to-back with Auburn and Georgia. I didn't realize that we hadn't won 5 in a row. I didn't know we hadn't won I think it was Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, Florida State, and then Miami in succession. I didn't know we hadn't done that before. I really did.
Well, when you throw the ball,
I didn't know we hadn't won at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when you throw the ball in the Georgia game, late in the game, obviously just seconds to play.
Right.
And the one that Lee McGriff went and caught, did you just assume you had overthrown it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because, I didn't get a chance to follow through like I normally do. I can step into a throw. And if you watch the film, I mean, it was one of those things where I went through a progression there for a second, and then, of course, here comes Lee. Who I think was the third guy in that progression. And I saw him, and I had to rush the throw. And because the guy was right there, so I couldn't bring my arm all the way through, and I wondered what had happened. And I knew it was going to be a little high because Lee is 5'9", but that guy practices, as you know, you used to see him do it. We see him do it all the time. He used to practice jumping up and catching balls. He loved doing that. And I didn't know what had happened until I heard the crowd on the ground, and I looked to see which side was cheering, and I didn't really know what had happened. Really, because I got clobbered when I let it go. Lee went up and made a great catch, man. I mean, and I was scared when I let it go because I thought, whoa, I've thrown that one out the end zone. You know what I mean? And think about this though, Pat. On the very next play, Hank Wahlberg was 6'5", 6'5", 6'6"? I threw that down at his knees.
They both were caught. That's the thing that matters the most.
Hank went down and really, I was so conscious of what had happened on the play before. I wanted to make sure I got it there, and he was open, whereas Lee was coming open, and that was a big difference. Mm-hmm.
And then you guys go to the wishbone, and that had to be kind of fun for you because you could put that ball in Jimmy Doo's stomach. We had Jimmy Doo on the show a few weeks ago. Put it in his stomach and pull it out or throw it or do whatever. It had to be a lot of fun.
The greatest thing about that was, because I didn't see myself as a wishbone quarterback. You know, we've had conversations before, but once we worked that spring, we didn't know we were really going to do this. It was something we were just working on, just for the spring, but we looked so good doing it. I think the key to all that was Jimmy. He was such a great fullback. He was strong, as you very well know, big, strong, and he had great speed. But more than that, he and I, we had a natural feel for each other. And you got to have that quarterback and the fullback begins the triple option, and you got to have a real mix because you're reading, and you guys got to be on the same page. And I don't recall if there ever was a time when, I take that back. You remember the NC State game
right.
when we had what we thought was a great team, and we lose the opener. We got that thing going on, and we're about to win it. All we need is a field goal. David Posey would have knocked it down. We're inside the 10, I think. But Jim and I have trouble with the mesh, and it was more me than Jimmy. I let it stay in there too long. Because I know all I need to do is give it to him and he's going to get a yard or two. We're going to kick that field goal. We're going for positioning. But then I decided to bring it out on the ride, and the ball bounced, hit his knee, and we lost it. And NC State recovered, and they won the game. And then we finished the season 9-2, having lost that game by a point and lost to Georgia, by that small margin.
Right.
And unfortunately, no one's considered that a great year. 9-2. I think we're the first team to win 9.
Every time I write a list, a thing of Florida's greatest teams that weren't able to win the championship, but that team to me was ridiculous. And
that was a good.
Maybe it's not as fondly remembered because obviously you guys weren't ready to go play Maryland in the Gator Bowl.
No, we were not. And you know what? That is it, Pat. You're absolutely right. That was the bummer. We were not ready for that game. We didn't expect that. And here again, when you're immature, you got a lot of young players on your team, and you don't feel like you met your own expectations because we know how close we came to being a tremendous team. A couple mistakes in 2 ball games that we should have won. The other team won it. They were better that day, but we certainly could have won those games. Look what it could have been. And then we were told, that we were expecting another situation, and we had a choice between the Cotton Bowl and the Gator Bowl. And coach thought it was best. And of course, we all agreed that it might be best to, instead of going to the Cotton Bowl, to meet either the loser, I think it was the loser of Oklahoma and Nebraska, whomever it was. And they have 40, 50,000 their fans out there. And, we have 10,000 Gator fans. We come here in Jacksonville and we would have somebody else. I thought it was somebody else from the beginning. I don't remember who it was now, but we didn't think it was Maryland because Maryland wasn't ranked as high as we were, but they handled us that day. I mean, it was just a bad day for us at the office for sure.
Yeah, it was. No, I was one of those people there. I actually brought my girlfriend to the game. And my parents.
I know you were there.
And it was raining.
Remember how cold it was? Remember how cold, and I was going to say, remember how cold and wet? And let's say, Pat, now, I had the broken wrist. Yeah. That was the first time that despite the surgery I've had, that was the first time that it really bothered me. I mean, I only played the first half, I think it was. I meant to play. Jimmy came in and played most of the second half, and it had nothing to do with my wrist. I still could have played, but that was the first time that the cold, that it really bothered, that the wrist bothered me. I had another problem when it was extremely cold my sophomore year, when we had the November 2. I remember they moved the Tangerine Bowl to Gainesville. You remember that one?
The coldest day in the history of America.
Absolutely. And I played, I think I played 3 plays or something to that effect. All week long they've been treating me for my back, and I naturally I wanted to try to go, and man, it was so cold. I mean, the moment I stepped out, I just knew it just wasn't going to work that day. I don't think I've ever been that cold in my life. It's been tough.
Oh yeah.
But the game against Maryland in the Gator Bowl, Maryland was excited to be there. We weren't excited, and that's unfortunate for us. It was wet, cold, slippery. I mean, as you very well know, extremely cold. And you may recall afterwards, I mean, there wasn't very much that we wanted to say after the game. I mean, it was over. The season was over. It was a disappointing season as far as we were concerned. But when you look back on it, we did some pretty good things too.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, before I let you go, Don, I wanted you to talk a little bit about the Gaffney family legacy. I mean, that with all the Gaffneys that have come there, I don't know if I can name them all, but Jabbar, Derek, Warren, Johnny. Did I miss anybody?
Nope, you got us all.
All right, that's pretty good though.
Derek, Warren, Johnny, myself. Of course, we had our kids there, and our others. Other than Jabbar, we had our kids that have attended University. Right. We're still there. But yeah, for a while there, I think like 10 years, my dad had a son playing for the Gators. From me to Johnny. Me, Derek, Warren, then down to Johnny, and of course, then along comes Jabbar. And so we've been very fortunate. But we were, my father was a big Gator fan, so we were fed Gator blood when we were kids. And that was a time when I can remember and name almost every Gator quarterback all the way back to, I thought, all the way back to it began, but no, it wasn't really that far back. I think I went back to Jackie Ekdahl or somebody like that when I was a kid coming up. I knew those Gator quarterbacks and hoped that someday I'd be one. Now when people ask me to name them, I forget myself sometimes, Oh yeah, that's right, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, but no, it was a fun time for us. My father certainly enjoyed it, and that was one of the great things about it from our perspective. My dad was an athlete, and he did everything he could to make things easier for us. You know what I'm saying? And again, he kept us positive about someday maybe you can play for the Gators. Who knows? And this was long before I even got to Range High School, So that goes to show you how deep my affection was for the University of Florida.
Yeah, it just was an amazing legacy.
Absolutely.
Did you?
Well, you were there with me the whole while, though. You were there with me the whole while. I remember when we were freshmen there, and you did an interview with me. I couldn't understand why. And right on through my sophomore year, you were one of the guys that said, Don, you're a pretty good player. And that meant a lot to me, and I appreciated that. I really did. You know that.
Hey, we just got a Facebook comment from Mary, said that game in the it was Tangerine Bowl that they moved from Orlando.
Bowl. It became the Citrus Bowl, right?
Only time I ever left a game early because my son's teeth were chattering.
Yeah, Mary, I understand.
It was cold, man.
Man, it was so cold. And I tell you something else, Pat. You talk about courage. When I said, Coach said, well, Don, can you? I said, Coach, it's just, I got to be honest. And you may recall now, it was Robbie Davis who came in, not David. All right. And I remember saying to Robbie said, Don, he said, Yeah, Robbie could throw that thing, man. And Robbie came in and I said, good luck. And he said, you're going to be okay? I said, I'll be fine if you're going to let me go inside. And they'll let me go inside. And they said, oh, you're an inspiration. You got to be here on the sideline.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Hey, we appreciate you taking the time, and I hope everything's going good with you. Everything, your health's good and everything. You've gotten through this COVID thing.
Yeah, I got through the COVID thing. Tracy and I both, and I'm having some dental problems right now that I'm having done. Dental work I'm having done. That's why I speak kind of weird here. But other than that, I'm okay. I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. My daughters, my grandkids didn't get the COVID thing because here again, we went months without seeing them. They didn't want to come close to us. So, we were somewhat isolated, the two of us, but we did okay. We got through it. And ironically, my wife, she did a whole lot better with it than I did. I'd be honest with you. But we're okay now, buddy. We're real happy.
Now we got a YouTube question or a YouTube comment. Kyle Wright says, "Thanks for all the memories, Gaffney family," and that's true. All the memories, and I appreciate everything. I mean, I watched a lot of your football games and covered some of your football games. But
yes,
the old Firebirds, baby, I'm telling you, they were good.
Well, think about it now, Pat. And you saw me at a point when I was as happy as I'd ever been, didn't you? Because I got a chance to throw that ball 35 or 40 times a game, and I loved it, And with we were throwing. I led the league in touchdowns one year, then I led the league in yards passing one year.
Right.
And so I was very fortunate to play with some great players, man. Oh, by the way, Warren told me to tell you hello because Warren was on that Firebird team too. Yeah. And
good for him.
He had. Yeah. He wanted me to make sure I said hello to you, and he remembered those wonderful stories you wrote about us.
Oh, I appreciate it.
That Firebird team was a.
There was never a Gaffney that was a bad quote. I will tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that too, Pat. Thank you so much.
Don, we'll let you go. We appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right,
Don
Thank
Gaffney,
you,
one of the great Florida quarterbacks. Luckily, we were able to get that all worked out, and I thought it went well. And I had a good time on my end, I can tell you that. But we do have to get a break before we bring in the great Danny Wuerffel. And then I will give you quickly my worst 5 losses in the NCAA tournament. 89 to me was one of the worst ever because that team won the SEC. They lost to Colorado State 68-46. I don't even remember the game. I don't even remember it being on TV, but it probably was. The Michigan State loss when they got killed as a 2 seed was bad. In 03 and 04, the loss to Manhattan. That was Billy Donovan's 8th year, so things worked out for him. That 17 loss to South Carolina after the Chiozza shot, then they lose that game. Again, had a big lead. And I mentioned earlier the Louisville game where Florida up 11 and with 10 to play, couldn't hold a lead, 2nd year in a row. And now we see it again. So look, you guys got my lecture from earlier. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Danny Wuerffel and make everybody smile. How about that? You're watching Another Dooley Noted Podcast. Thank you.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast. It's always a great pleasure to welcome a Heisman Trophy winner on the show. And we've got one today, the great Danny Wuerffel, and I appreciate him taking the time to come on the show. And we've got a lot of things to talk about. The first thing I want to talk to you about, Danny, is how has this COVID hit your Desire Street Ministries? Because obviously it's harder to get people to donate because they're donating all over the place.
Yeah, well, a couple things. So as many folks know, Desire Street, we support and work with leaders that live and work in under-resourced neighborhoods. And when you get on the ground in the neighborhoods, it's been a particularly tough year. I mean, every year is tough, but when you throw in the pandemic, you throw in, a lot of loss of people losing their jobs, the kids not being able to go to school where they often get their meals, trying to do school at home where a lot of kids don't have internet is create a lot of challenges, in particular in the neighborhoods. Our leaders have really risen to the occasion. They've done a lot of great innovative learning things, a lot of kind of food distribution. And for us at Desire Street, we've been able to support them through this. And I tell you, Pat, a unique thing that happened, we were really concerned that we might take a big hit with donations, but I think a lot of people have stepped up and been extra generous throughout the year. And so we've been stable and been able to help keep our partners stable as well.
Well, that's good news. Good to hear. And I know it's been tough for everybody. And luckily, we've been able to watch a lot of sports. And I know that you watched all the Gator games. And you probably saw a little bit of your old offense and what Kyle Trask and Dan Mullen were running this year.
Well, it was like many Gator fans, it was fun to see some great offense, tremendous accuracy in passing, great work by the receivers, phenomenal, I think, job by Coach Mullen, recognizing the type of squad he had. Didn't have the great running game, didn't have the great offensive line in terms of that, but being able to pull all that together, adjust, and let Kyle Trask do his thing. That was a special year for sure for offense.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that they're not reinventing the wheel. You're seeing a lot of the plays that you guys ran back in 94, 95, 96, but they're just running them at the right time against the right defense.
Yeah, I think there's some of that. I think, the way that they're attacking and the way defenses are playing are slightly different. And so there's obviously some comparables, but it's an iteration or two different, I think, from simply what we did. But the net result was you're seeing downfield passing, you're seeing a lot of touchdowns, you're seeing a lot of scoring, and that's what we all love.
All right, when you come here, and of course we've always know your story about, kind of a close call there, ended up coming to Florida. I remember the game where you ran. Now, was it 80 or 70 yards, the high school game, Florida Field?
79.
79. That was close. I just remember it being a long way. And I mean, did you worry about getting caught from behind on that play?
I was always worried about getting caught from behind, but no, I was fast in high school. I wasn't a slow guy, but by the time I got to college and everybody else got faster, I realized my best attribute was throwing the ball to somebody else and letting them run with it, and that's what worked for us.
Well, you know why you got slow is because you had to put all that artillery on, knee pads, elbow pads, obviously the breastplate, because I mean it was tough when everybody knew Florida was going to throw the ball. And we all know about the FSU game, but that happened in a lot of games where people just trying to knock you out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that people were playing ferocious. The rules were a little bit different back then. Nowadays, people get fined and kicked out of the game. And back then it was like, oh, man, good hit. And so, some things that have changed a bit. But that was our deal. We also, though, were able to run the ball a lot to where the defense couldn't just pin back their ears and rush, rush the passer. We had a pretty effective running game that kept everybody off balance as well. And we had my senior year, a lot of linemen were hurt. So I think, we were playing with a lot of younger guys, which, kind of gave the defense some opportunities to get to me more. But yeah, by the end of my senior year, I had a pad covering just about every inch of my body, because I was my job was to make the right decision, hang in the pocket, make the throw, even if that meant getting hit in the side of the head.
I think about the Sugar Bowl a lot, where Steve went to the shotgun, and I know you guys had practiced it a few times before that, and I think he might have run it like 2 plays maybe during the year. But when he makes that call, what's going through your mind?
Man, I was really happy. He was kind of slow to go to the shotgun compared to other coaches. I think there's some reasons for that. A lot of our passing, especially against zone defenses, was built on timing, and that matches the quarterback's steps. The other thing, if you're in the shotgun, people don't think about this. When the ball is snapped, you have to take your eyes off the defense for a second to catch the ball, as opposed to if you're under center, you don't ever have to look down. So, what happens between the second the ball's snapped and the second after the ball's snapped, the defense can do a lot of things differently. So to keep your eyes up is important as well. So he was slow to it, but that team, they were tremendously good at pass rushing. Again, we had a lot of injuries on the line. They often played man-to-man, so that took away sort of the idea of having to look. And the biggest difference really between the game they beat us and the Sugar Bowl was I had split second longer, still got hit several times, but had enough time to, in some cases, just lob the ball out there for Ike to go grab it, or Riddell, and that was the difference, and it was fun.
Well, I was just about to ask you, the one to Ike when he makes the stop and go, which we've seen 1 billion times, on YouTube and everything. But what was your view? Because you got drilled on that play, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know if I remember even seeing it live. Half the time I didn't get to see the guys catch it or score. But what I do remember thinking is, if I would have done that, I would have probably torn both ACLs. For those that didn't see it, he's running a post pattern. I throw the ball, he jumps, he catches it in the air, and the guy was coming to hit him, and the guy was chasing him. And at a full speed, he landed and stopped. And the guys ran into each other like a cartoon. He backs up and then runs in for a touchdown. It was one of the best receiver moves you'll ever see.
Yeah, we had him on the show earlier. He was talking about, there was just instinct that made him do that. But he's been tremendous. Also, when you go back to that game, you showed that speed with that touchdown run. When you were running, man, it felt like it was going to take you forever, but nobody was catching you.
Yeah, it was, if you listen to the announcer, he's like, Wuerffel's at the 15. He's at the 10. He's at the 7. He's at, I don't know how fast that was, but somehow I got to that pylon, and it was just a great recap. Basically, we had a man-to-man. They were playing man-to-man defense, and all of our receivers were on the left side of the field, and I broke out on the right, so there just really wasn't anybody left, and somehow I got to that pylon.
Yep. Oh, what was that night like for you? Just remembering it.
Definitely a surreal moment, in particular. It wasn't like we just went straight undefeated. We were number 1 all year and won it. A few weeks earlier, we had lost terribly to Florida State and thought probably all our chances were over. They get a chance to play Alabama when the SEC was big, and then when Ohio State beat Arizona State and Texas had beaten Nebraska, all of a sudden we're playing Florida State for a rematch. So often, Pat, when I kind of think about my senior season, it seems more like a movie that I watched than something that happened. Like you'd say, yeah, you couldn't This is too good to be true. It probably really didn't happen, but it really felt like a great movie with a great ending. And I just remember running around the field looking for teammates to hug, and just what a great moment.
Yeah, usually you complain about how the media guys wouldn't leave you alone while you were looking for teammates.
Well, I try, we're trying to let some of those times pass, but actually that was one of the frustrating things. Was it was such a media event, and everybody was trying to get a word, and I was just trying to hug a teammate.
When you look back on Steve and what he was, not only what he did here, but how he influenced your life. I mean, we all have great stories. Everybody does an impression, but I've reflected back on it too. Now that I'm a retired person, what a great influence he's been on my life. I'll tell you a great story, Danny. Just last week, I got a note from Jerry just saying, "Hey, nothing really to say. Just wanted to tell you how much we love you." And that, I mean, you dealt with that your whole life too, and it's a pretty amazing story.
That's funny. I just found a note from Jerry myself not too long ago. She wrote it right after I won the Heisman, and she said, "Danny, this is a pretty exciting time, I know, for you, but you just won't know for years how much this will impact your life, but one day you will." And of course, having just read that, it was right. And I think, the opportunity, several people have said this. I think Chris Doring is one that is very articulate in his appreciation for Coach Spurrier, because, the opportunity to have played for him, we're talking about Heisman trophies here and the national championships, that really happened for me because I played for him. I had a particular set of skill and the way that I thought and played that just was matched with him, and probably for any other coach, I don't have near that same success. And I look at how that has changed the trajectory of my life and the things that I've been able to do through the nonprofit world and Desire Street and the Wuerffel Trophy, a college award for community service. So much of that, I've got to believe, is partly and largely due to Coach Spurrier's impact in my life. And I'm really happy he's in Gainesville now. We've played golf a few times as I've been through town, and he'll call me out of the blue and, "Hey, Danny, how many points we averaged at home in 1996? I have no idea, but he's just reminiscing, and he remembers everything. And so yeah, he's impacted a lot of lives for sure.
Yeah, I was down at one of those reunion things, and Florida just finished in the College World Series, so he started talking about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I remember we in Science Hill, semifinals was 3-2, and then we lost 4-3, and then we came back, won 5-4. They were all one-run games." How do you remember that, and how am I going to even check it to see whether that's true or not?
I wouldn't bet against him. The good thing is, back when he was coaching you, he remembered everything, the good and the bad, and he'd remind you. But now I think as he's gotten older, he tends to just remember the good ones. So that's at least good for the rest of us who made some mistakes along the way.
Yeah, I remember we found out you had a real major flaw when you were playing here, that you chewed your fingernails. So we got that out of you. I remember.
Yeah, I wish that was the worst one, but that's the worst one,
All right, my man. Hey, appreciate it, and appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything we can help you with as far as trying to plug Desire Streets or anything else?
No, just the one-stop shop for me. If you go to DannyWuerffel.com, you can find out all about Desire Street, about the Wuerffel Trophy and the College Award for Community Service. And I'm just trying to broaden some things that I'm doing to help more people, to kind of inspire more service and unity in the world. And I appreciate you, Pat. You've been a part of my whole Gator life from early on, and we've journeyed a lot together. I'm glad you're doing the podcast still, and good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it.
All right.
Danny Wuerffel, the great one, joining us live here. If you're watching it live, if not, then you are listening to it. Not live, or maybe you are listening to it live. I don't know what I'm saying. Those are words that are coming out of my mouth. All right. You can listen to us, watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube, every one of these shows, Monday and Friday. Friday, by the way, Mike Bianchi's going to join us, and we'll get somebody else. I actually had to move some scheduling around. If you remember last week, we had some issues, and Robbie, blah, 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 blah. I know these are little things about the show that you really don't care about. If you want to get in on a text, we had a couple of people get on Facebook and YouTube and had something to say to Don Gaffney. But if you want to get in on a text, we will, if you got some venting to do about last night's game, 352-600-2300. That is the Ironwood Golf Course text line. And so once again, that's 352-600-2300. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Radio, iHeartRadio, WRUF.com, or any of the 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Boy, the words are not coming out of my mouth. We'll get them put back in and try it again. But first, we always enjoy doing the Leonardo's Millhopper quick picks. Now, I can't tell you who won the Monday contest. What day is today? Today's Monday. The Friday contest, because we have to wait and see what happens tonight. In fact, I just got a score that Oregon beat Iowa. So there's another upset. It's just wild, but I'll get to that in a moment. There was one winner one qualifier. Cord Thibodeau did qualify for the one. So we're like behind. We're going to catch up on this one. And we continue to qualify people. We're real close to having a drawing for a $50 gift certificate at Leonardo's. Boy. Plus some other stuff that I'll throw in there. And I hope you will enjoy it. We appreciate everything that Kyle does over there at Leonardo's Millhopper. What a great job he does. Great food, great place to go. And Gainesville, we don't have that many legacy restaurants anymore. There aren't too many of them left. All right, so the Leonardo's Millhopper quick picks. And we'll have a whole list of the qualifiers on Friday, okay, at that point. And then we'll probably have another contest, and then we'll do a drawing. What do you say? Does that sound good? Does that sound like a plan of any kind? All right, and I had to get complicated because there's not a lot going on in the middle of the week. Don't forget, games are over tonight, then they don't play again for a while, and we'll be able to do something nice, really kind of fun Friday. But today, I went with a couple of odd ones. You guys are going to have to use math. That may not be good. All right, we'll start off with softball Wednesday at UCF. Simple, right? Over under 4 runs for the Gators. Okay, they scored a lot of runs in the last 6 innings. The first inning, I think I have this right. The first inning, the 7th inning of the one game against Mississippi State, because I watched the game, and there was too much going on this weekend. And then the first 5 of the next game, and I think that was a run rule game. I think I'm right on that. I looked at it today. But so do they get 4 or more? So that's the over-under on that one. And then the Florida plays Texas A&M in volleyball. 2 games. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday. I'm almost positive it's Wednesday, Thursday, which is why I would select something that you want to have over by Friday. So I know it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Florida. All right, it's against Texas A&M. That's what it is. At Texas A&M. I'm sorry about that. How many sets does the match take? The 2 matches. The 2 matches together. 2. All right, so that's a minimum of 6, right? If one team went 3-0, that'd be 6. The maximum would be 10 because you'd have 2 5-setters. So the answers are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All you got to do is pick one of those numbers. This is like Celebrity Jeopardy question. Pick a number lower than 10. Pi? All right, so let me just give you that one more time. I know I got complicated. I kept saying I was going to keep it simple, and then I got it really complicated. Softball, Wednesday at UCF. Over under 4 runs. Number of sets Florida and Texas A&M play over 2 days, and Wednesday and Thursday, minimum of 6, maximum of 10. You just give me a number. I think I got that done. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We will get to the Adams Ribco player of the Gator of the week. And I keep forgetting what day today is. And 3 things as well. And also, if you want to, like I said, if you want to get in a comment about the basketball last night, our Ironwood Golf Course text number, 352-600-2300. Pretty easy to remember, 600-2300. All right, now we will take a break, and then we'll come back and wrap up another edition of Another Dooley Noted Podcast.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast. We'll wrap it up. We got a couple of things to deal with. Obviously, we got a few texts in on the Ironwood Golf Course text line, and that number is 600-2300. Here's one that says, Pat, glad to see you're upset with the loss. I've been listening to you for the last month, and I think you were apologetic for Mike White. I don't see how he gets this to the place we want our basketball team to be. Should have been able to beat Oral Roberts. Thanks, and go Gators. Yeah, I don't. I think people confuse me defending Mike White with me telling the reality of Mike White. And the reality of Mike White is that he's not going anywhere. Now, first of all, what they had to deal with this year, no coach would get let go after that, and he was not going to get let go anyway. They like what he's doing. He's doing things the right way. And you look around you, the FBI's not snooping on Florida. So these are all factors, and this is all I'm saying. This is the same feeling I had or talk, when I would talk to you guys about it when I told you that Muschamp wasn't getting fired after his 3rd year. After the South Carolina game was 4th, I said, that's it, you're done. You're out of here. Same way with Mike White. Yeah, I'm not happy with the way things happened last night. Usfl being on the floor late in that game, he shouldn't be on the floor. It shouldn't happen at that point. You can't have him shooting free throws. I mean, there's a lot of things they did. They slowed it down. A lot of people were mad about that. Didn't work. They took a strategy and it didn't work. He felt they were gassed. And he also was worried, I think more than anything, about them being able to get down and get open, easy looks. And he felt that if Florida played a slower offense, they were going to be able to get they were able to run their offense. Look, they scored, what'd they score? 78 points? Seems to be a lot of points, usually for a game like that. Look, I get it. But I get the pain everybody feels today. There is nothing as abrupt as the end of the tournament. When you lose, it is the worst feeling in the world. I can tell you, I mentioned the 5 that were the worst for me, but that was a bad one last night. That was one that is hard to fathom, how something like that could have happened. But again, it's funny. I'm just checking to see if we have another one here. The thing about that game last night is everybody's mad because it was Oral Roberts, not because it was Ohio State. It's Oral Roberts. Now, Oral Roberts is coming to that game with nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. You know, they'd already done that with Ohio State and beaten Ohio State. So they were feeling loose and playing loose, and they had two really incredible offensive players. Florida matched them and was exceeding them. I get all the level of frustration. I certainly understand it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not defending Mike White. I'm telling you the reality of Mike White's job and job status, and so he's not in any trouble, and that doesn't make people happy. Whenever anybody is not happy, they want somebody fired. So just don't fire me. That's all I can ask. We have that's a Facebook question, right? From Kenny. When will Florida's spring game practice be on the SEC network? Yeah, it was a scrimmage they had Saturday, and Kenny, that is a great question, and I'm going to try to get that information for you so that I can give it to you on Friday. But I'll tell you what I'll do, Kenny. I'll text it out, or I'll not text it out. I'll put it on Twitter and let you know. I just don't know for sure when they're going to show it. Obviously, they had it Saturday. Everything went pretty well, according to Dan Mullen. Pretty smooth, you know. I think they felt like they got a lot out of the spring. But, yeah, there's going to be like the way I understand it, it's going to be like a 2-hour special they're going to show on the SEC network about Florida's spring. So I'll check on that, and I will tweet that out, as the youngsters say. All right. Time for the Adams Rib Company Gators of the Weekend. And I was really kind of going back. I mean, again, you had a lot of prospects, and obviously I know the weekend began on Friday. You could easily have argued Trey Mann was the Gator of the Weekend, but it's kind of hard to do that after they lost the game. You know, there's a lot of other athletes that had great days and great games that are Gators. But I decided to go, maybe I'm not copping out too much here, because remember, I'm always doing these groups. I'm going with every pitcher who pitched for Florida in baseball or softball, every single one of them. Think about this. They played 2 series in the SEC. Now I will say Mississippi State in softball, A&M in baseball, that's not the toughest they're going to face. They're going to face a lot tougher than that this year. But softball gave up 0.0 runs. Baseball gave up 5 earned in 3 games, 27 innings. That's pretty good. That's a good, I'm especially pleased that Jack Leftwich pitched so well on, that would have been Friday, because they played Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Of course, they have South Carolina this week, and softball has LSU, so that's a big series here in Gainesville. There's always something going on in Gainesville, baby. Let me tell you what. If you ain't in Gainesville, you're missing a lot of things. All right, so that is our Adams Rib Company Gators of the Weekend. All the pitchers, the entire pitching staff that pitched in Florida's baseball and softball sweeps. Sweep, there it is. All right, we got to get out of here pretty soon. So let us quickly go to the Gainesville Quarterback Club. 3 things. Number 1, this tourney has been a blast. I've got to ease my way back into it. Like I said earlier, it stings what happened last night. I had a hard time even watching that Oregon-Iowa game, but the offense was so good it was great to watch. And it's just another upset. Oregon wins. They just keep coming. I didn't think we'd get this. I thought we would get something different. I thought we were going to get a chalky tournament. Instead, it has lived up and gone past March Madness. And you hate it when it happens to your team, and I get it. You think Virginia fans are happy? You think Illinois fans are happy? No, they're bitter. They don't know what the big deal is about March Madness. Who said it was any good? It sucks because they're out of the tournament. I know it sucks. It stinks. But it's been great. Number 2, there will be a full draft this year, and that includes with fans acting like crazy people in Cleveland. And the NFL announced that today. Full draft, parties, players, all these people. I don't know. It's going to be April 29th. Now, you probably think the draft's next week because you've heard so much draft stuff. It's not till April 29th still. You got a ways to go, but full draft, just so you know. And finally, number 3, if you didn't get a chance, go Google it, go look it up. Deion Sanders' team lost a game on Saturday, and the team put up the PA guy or the people in the booth, whatever you call them, put up his draft day picture up on the screen after they won the game. I think it was, maybe it was Abilene Christian that won the basketball game too. Anyway, somebody beat him. It's just funny. You got to read the whole story. I'm not doing it justice, and I got to get out of here. Until next time, which will be Friday, I am Pat Dooley, deep way back and out of here.